Now, guys, it's fair to say that financially, times are very tough for a lot of people out there. I mean, the prices of everything, of like basic utilities, are just like through the roof, and a lot of people are like feeling the pinch. But in amongst all of that, I've noticed that some people have got some bad financial habits that they're continuing to do, and these financial habits are only keeping them broke and they're not actually helping them in their situations. If someone was to like understand these financial habits and then try to change them or adjust them, then they could really see a big turnaround in their finances. So that's what I'm going to talk about today. Financial habits that have been keeping you broke and what you can do about them. Hi guys, welcome back to Shackles of Debt. My name is Tembi, and on this channel I talk about money and finances, and I also talk about my life here in New Zealand. If this is your first time here, then welcome. It is nice to have you here. If this isn't your first time here, then thank you so much for coming back. So like I said, today I'm going to be talking about financial habits, specifically 6 financial habits that can keep you broke and what you can do in order to rectify that, in order to help and to boost your finances, especially in these times when things are so expensive. The first financial decision that I have observed that keeps quite a lot of people broke is car payments. Now, who doesn't want to drive a nice car? And who doesn't want to like pull up somewhere and have people looking at them like admiring their car? And I know that cars are a big source of pride for a lot of people. However, the majority of people out there are going around driving these like really nice, really expensive cars, but paying a ridiculous amount of money on their car loan, on their car payment every single month. And you know what? That is just a waste of money. You know, if you're spending more than a third of your monthly income on a car payment, that is actually ridiculous. That money could be used towards going somewhere. And also, don't forget, you're not just paying for the car payment, you also have to pay for the petrol, you also have to pay for the insurance, as well as other things that go into the cost of running a car. So in order to like save yourself some money, you can just eliminate the car payment. You can buy a car outright. You can actually buy a car that you can afford. It might mean that you have to like drive a banger or, you know, a very old crusty car in your opinion. But it is unbelievable the amount of money that can be saved when someone doesn't have a car payment. The second thing that I've observed that can keep someone broke is trying to get like the latest gadgets all the flipping time. And in particular, I'm talking about like the iPhone. And I observed this phenomenon when the new iPhone 14 came out. So if you don't know, the new iPhone 14 recently came out. In my opinion, I'm sure people think it's better. I'm sure the people that are using it think it's better. However, these iPhones cost upwards of like $1,000 or £1,000. And the people that can't afford them, they just like get like a new phone contract. So now you've got people that are paying upwards of like $100 a month in order to be able to have the latest gadget. And I think that's just a waste of money. Listen, when it comes to phones, I feel like in the last sort of like 5 years, phones are like so developed. They've all got great cameras. They all call the same. They all take the same pictures. They all do pretty much the same thing. There's nothing wrong with like getting like an older model of a phone and maybe keeping that for like a longer period of time rather than just like jumping in to get like the latest thing. You know, I'll give you an example. So for me, this is an iPhone 11. I bought this about 6 months ago. I bought it cash. I bought it outright. I didn't want to have any sort of like phone contract. And this is the only iPhone that was within my budget at the time. Even though it is like 3 models behind like the latest iPhone right now, I don't feel like there's any massive difference. I mean, we still iMessage the same, we still FaceTime the same, we still take pictures the same as anyone that's got like an iPhone 14. The only difference is I'm not paying a huge amount of money every single month towards my phone. Like all I'm paying for is my minutes, my data, and my texts. That's it. So I think we need to like change our attitude towards gadgets. I mean, you don't have to have the latest thing. I mean, it's not by force. And there's nothing wrong with like wanting the latest things, but can you afford it? Is it eating into your budget? Is that money that you could be saving? And that's something that people really need to ask themselves. Something that I've noticed that keeps people broke is not not understanding interest and the impact of interest on your finances. So interest is basically the cost of borrowing something. So let's say, for example, you go to borrow some money from a bank. The bank might say, for example, that loan has got a 5% interest on it. And what that basically means is that they are charging you 5% of the sum that you borrowed in order to borrow that money. Let's say you borrowed £1,000. If I get my maths right, 5% interest on that should be 50. So in total, you end up paying back $1,050 instead of the £1,000 that you borrowed. That's because they've charged you this extra 50 in order to borrow that money. And in a nutshell, that's how interest works. The important thing about interest is that it can work either in your favor or against you based on something called compounding. So the way that compound interest can work against you is, let's say, for example, you have like some credit card debt and you're not fully clearing that every single month. So you get charged interest on that. Now that you've been charged interest on the money that you owe, you then get charged more interest. The balance then increases and then you get charged interest on that negative balance. So in a nutshell, basically, the amount that you owe just only increases and increases because the interest is now being charged on top of the other interest. Now, the way that this can work in your favor, like the other way around, is if you like invest your money, for example. So when you invest and you earn like an annual return on your money, you then earn more and more interest based on the money that has gained interest. So what that does is that it supercharges the amount of money that you actually have invested. So you really need to understand interest. You really need to like read the small print of every single thing that you have, especially like your loans or any like credit cards, anything that you might owe money on, because misunderstanding interest can lead you and keep you in like a financially dark place. The fourth thing that I've seen that keeps people broke is not understanding credit cards, especially the people that only pay the minimum payments. Now, when you don't understand how to use a credit card and you're only making the minimum payments, you can quickly fall down a rabbit hole of like uncontrolled debt because it can quickly spiral because the interest rates, like I've just spoken about, interest rates on credit cards tend to be sky high, something up to like 30, 40, and even up to 50 or 60%, you know, when you don't make the full payment. So before you even take out a credit card, you really need to understand how a credit card works. You need to understand what you have the credit card for. You need to understand what your personal money habits are because it's so easy to spiral. On the other hand, the people that like understand credit cards are the people that like tend to use them to their advantage, and they're the ones that tend to get like the most benefits, most rewards out of credit cards. So you really need to understand credit cards in order to not be broke. The fifth thing that can keep you broke, especially in the long run, especially as your life sort of progresses, is not investing. Now, investing is the most common and most easiest way that people actually accumulate wealth and increase their net worth, and specifically investing in assets and things such as the stock market. I understand that there's a lot of fear when it comes to investing. I understand that a lot of people don't understand how it works, but the underlying principle behind investing is that you should only spend your money on things that are called assets, and these are things that increase in value over time so that later on you can cash in that asset and it'll be worth a lot more than when you bought it. And a lot of people tend to think that investing is like very risky, which it is, but you know, this is where diversification and understanding your risk appetite really comes in. The sooner you can understand investing and the sooner you begin, the more advantage you have and the more opportunity and time your money has to grow. So I highly suggest just like taking some time out to learn about investing, learning about what it entails, how to do it, you know, and also just seeing examples of people who have invested over a long period of time and are now enjoying their money like much later on. Not investing is definitely something that is going to rob you of any future sort of income that you may have. The last thing that would definitely keep you broke, especially as you get older and get into like retirement and older age, is either putting off or not saving for your retirement. Now, I know as young people, me included, you know, I've thought about this before, you know, I always think, oh, retirement is like so far away. You know, it's gonna be ages before I'm like 65, 70. I don't need to start thinking about like a pension or retirement plan or anything like that for a long time. However, a lot of people who've had this mindset have reached retirement and realized that they don't even have enough money to live on. Therefore, they've continued working all the way into their like 60s and 70s. You know, those are the times that you just want to relax and kick back and enjoy the fruit of your labor together, enjoy your family, but you can't if you haven't saved up enough money over your lifetime. And the best way to get around this is to literally start saving for your retirement like as soon as possible. A lot of employers do have retirement plans where, you know, you pay a certain amount of money and then they also put in a certain amount of money every single month. I know some people do opt out of those plans, and I suggest that if you have opted out of any sort of pension plans, that you definitely opt back in. On the other hand, you know, you might be self-employed, but still in that case, I highly suggest that you also save up for your retirement, because like I said, it can really creep up on you, and the state pension, or you know, the money that you get from the government, really is never enough. And you know, you want to have like a dignified retirement where you're not really worrying about money or expenses. And also don't forget, older people tend to have like more health problems and stuff, so it would really help if you have like a good solid foundation, like a really good amount of money to like fall back on, especially as you get older. Now, what other money habits do you think keep people broke? When it comes to like these money habits, I certainly made my fair share of financial mistakes, and I certainly have engaged in some of these money habits, but it's never too late to educate yourself. It's never too late to learn. It's never too late to like get on top of your finances. The sooner you do that, the better. So guys, anyway, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate this. If you like this video, then please give it a thumbs up. I will see you in the next video. Bye.